So welcome to week 3 of our gratitude wellness month. We are talking about this thing that I created called the gratitude spectrum. And there are 3 steps to grow in your sense of presence and find that radical acceptance you've been waiting for. Those 3 things are: you don't have to be grateful, but you do have to be present. What the spectrum actually is and where are you, and then owning that space on the spectrum. It really is that simple. So let's find out how. And if you've ever felt stuck or frozen in what you should have or could have done, then this week is for you. So stay tuned. So I built this spectrum. As I look at that negative dynamic, I built spectrums to move us from each point, remembering that there's over 2,000 feedback loops that we're getting stuck in. All we have to do is neutralize and ground in one, and we can start taking steps into a positive flow state. And one of the ways we do that is find those 4 corners where the cycles are really kicking off and finding a new set of feedback loops to loop into. And that's where those spirals are happening. And so I created spectrum so we can actually walk through using radical acceptance to get to a place of grounding and positive flow state. And gratitude is one of those spectrums. So let's check out what this spectrum is so that we can own our spot on it and learn how to heal and grow in a present state. So gratitude and suffering are on the same spectrum. Starting at suffering, we have logically I know, but emotionally I cannot feel. This is complete despair. I'm always going to make mistakes. I'm never going to get better. As we grow on that spectrum, we find ourselves emotionally starting to understand, but still having trouble to connect. And that's a general idea of what success is, but not really having the confidence it will be enough. And then we get into stage 3, which is emotionally somewhat connected, but still have behaviors that indicate I have low value. So I have the tools and I've been able to succeed, but because of my negative narrative, I still have doubt. 4 is a complete neutral. So we're not really suffering. We're not really grateful. We're just kind of living each day. Those opposite actions is coming up in 4. And as we move towards gratitude, level 5 is going to be behaviors are growing. And as I become more mindful and emotionally connected, I have thoughts that indicate my value. And then we get into number 6. I have set intentions that I can connect with, and I'm finding agency to live towards my intentions. This leads us to kind of the final step in our gratitude and suffering spectrum, which is gratitude. I have value and meaning, and there is purpose in my life. So this spectrum is supposed to allow us to feel more confident in where we're at because of those perceived expectations. We think that we just need to be grateful. And if we can just find one thing a day to be grateful about, somehow all of our anxiety, all of our depression, everything just kind of fades away. And while gratitude journaling is a wonderful tip and a great thing to do, I don't want you to feel as if it doesn't work for you, that somehow there is something wrong with you, because you are exactly where you need to be. And most people are showing up on 2 and 3 on any given day. So don't fret, no shame and guilt. Let's grow together. And so what does it look like to own your space on the gratitude and suffering spectrum? It means that we let go of the judgment and the shame and guilt of where we should and could be and what if we don't ever get there. And we realize that it doesn't matter where we're at. It matters that we're present where we're at. It literally doesn't matter if you are one of the many, the most, in the 2 or 3, that you still lack a little bit of confidence, that you're not really sure that you are someone who can do it. guess what? That's a part of the negative cycle. Remember, capacity, value, motivation. And as we are capped on the value and capacity, that's being in 2 and 3, our motivation starts to tank. And as it comes back down, because they all want to be aligned, what we find is that what's the point? That motivation comes down, and the exact narrative is, what's the point? It's not like I'm going to be successful anyways. Sound familiar? So as we own our spot on the spectrum, I want you to remember a few key points. First, where am I on the spectrum? Name it, label it. Remember that awareness is so important. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to find radical acceptance without judgment. Know that you're there, because where your thoughts and your behaviors and your feelings are, it's all okay. And lastly, to own your space on the spectrum is say, what is one thing I can do to move one step forward? We're not trying to hit gratitude. We're trying to hit the next spot in the spectrum, connecting to that value and capacity. And that is how we're going to own our space in the spectrum, is looking at and owning where we are and just taking one micro step forward. And as we build a traveler's perspective for this, I want you to think about some of the decisions and experiences that you go through every day. Think about the thoughts, the feelings, and the behaviors that you are encountering. Do they all correlate? Can you see that there is connection there? Or do you find yourself more in that place of logically I know, emotionally I can't feel? When we're in a traveler state, when we're seeking and ingratiating that adventure, we're looking at all our opportunities. We see the things that we want and we make the plans to go and achieve them. We're not just showing up to say, here are the monuments, and taking our selfie and walking away. We're really wanting to get a little more curious, going down and really engrossing ourselves in that culture. And as we look at the culture of our mind, we really want to know, what is it made up of? And that is those CBT key principles of thought, feeling, and belief. As always, we have our worksheet down below, so go take a look at that. Start looking at that gratitude spectrum, finding where you are on it, and sitting with the activities and the reflection questions so that you can grow in a present state. Remember, it's not doing everything, it's doing one thing and being present and intentional with it.